On October 11th, Hollywood was shaken by the news of Diane Keaton's sudden death at her Los Angeles home. A death shrouded in mystery with no clear cause, and enveloped by countless questions. For days afterward, the media and fans could only wait in silence until Duke Keaton, her only son, finally broke that silence. According to Duke, his mother's passing was not natural, but tied to a final phone call with a powerful man, a series of documents that vanished without a trace, and tense hidden relationships with Hollywood's movie mogul. But what chilled the public most was his final revelation: Diane Keaton didn't die by fate. She was worn down by decades of endurance and trauma. Now, the most haunting question remains unanswered. How did Diane Keaton truly die? And the man she last spoke to, was he merely an old flame, or the final link in a mystery concealed for too long? Early on the morning of October 11th, the Los Angeles Emergency Dispatch received a frantic call. A trembling woman's voice pleaded, "Please, someone's fainted. We need an ambulance now." The address given was the Brentwood villa of actress Diane Keaton, where she had lived for nearly 2 decades. Minutes later, an ambulance raced to the scene. Neighbors recounted seeing medical personnel carry a woman in a white robe out of the house, motionless and unresponsive. The villa's doors slammed shut immediately after. Hours later, every major American media outlet reported the news: Diane Keaton, legend of The Godfather and Annie Hall, had passed away at 79. No cause of death was announced. No precise time of death given, only a cold, brief statement from her spokesperson. She passed peacefully, surrounded by loved ones. According to Forbes, she left behind an estate estimated at nearly $100 million, along with a lingering question. Why did a woman who was still healthy and working die so suddenly? In her final months, Diane Keaton had virtually disappeared from public view. She attended no events, gave no interviews, and stopped posting on social media. A stark departure for someone who once called Instagram her daily joy. Close friends admitted, "We didn't know what was happening." Diane's silence was frightening. Neighbors noted that Keaton used to walk her golden retriever Reggie every morning. But since early summer, she was no longer seen. Her gate stayed closed, curtains drawn. A neighbor told People, "I only knew she was still in the house, but no one was allowed to see her." On Instagram, Keaton's final post was on April 11th, exactly 6 months before her death. In the photo, she smiled warmly beside Reggie with a brief caption, "Proof that our pets have great taste too." It was a photo full of light. But looking back, people saw something quiet and weary in that smile. Before that, her previous post on January 22nd called for donations to victims of the Palisades wildfire. Then, 6 months of absolute silence followed, a complete contrast to the woman who once shared weekly glimpses of her vibrant everyday life. The media soon uncovered that Keaton's withdrawal coincided with her listing her dream home for $29 million and canceling 2 major film projects she had previously signed on to. Both moves were unusual for someone known for her meticulousness and respect for contracts. And then on that fateful morning, Diane Keaton passed away in silence. No final words, no farewell letter. No one knew what happened behind the doors of that villa. Only when Duke Keaton, her only son, spoke out did the veil of silence begin to lift. In a brief interview with People, he said something that rocked Hollywood. "My mother's death was not simple." According to Duke, in her final weeks, she suffered from insomnia, ate very little, and seemed stressed by something. He also confirmed that the night before she was found unconscious, Keaton had a nearly 15-minute phone call with a powerful figure in the film industry, after which she spoke no more. Now, as the pieces slowly emerge from the mysterious call, the missing documents to signs of her recent decline, a picture of Diane Keaton's final months begins to form. A major star passed away, leaving behind not just a void of loss, but a web of unanswered questions. Yet looking closely at Diane Keaton's last months, people began to notice strange, seemingly harmless signals that in hindsight carried chilling foreshadowing. In March, Diane Keaton abruptly listed her dream Los Angeles villa for $29 million. This was no ordinary real estate transaction. For years, Keaton called it the house of my life. She had personally overseen its design and renovation, even dedicating a book to her love and meticulous care for its architecture. Thus, the news of the sale stunned fans. Why would a woman who poured so much heart into her home suddenly sell it? Less than 2 months later, she lowered the price to $27.5 million. On paper, it might seem like a price adjustment, but for those who knew Keaton, a famously meticulous, controlled, and deliberate woman, this felt like a signal of urgency. When piecing together the sale with other changes, it becomes clear Diane Keaton was deliberately tidying up her life. But for what purpose? Amid the media and public's confusion over Diane Keaton's mysterious death, her son revealed a detail that sent investigators into action: her covert connections and complex power dynamics with Hollywood's top movie mogul. According to The Hollywood Reporter, in her final months, Keaton was involved in several unproduced projects, including a film with Blake Lively, Richard Gere, and Lin-Manuel Miranda. Few knew, however, that she had been tied to a project abruptly canceled in early 2025. Described as too sensitive for public release, a leaked internal email revealed the project's title, The Last Witness, internal draft only, with Diane Keaton's name on the preliminary list. Yet, just 3 weeks after filming was scheduled, all related files were inexplicably erased from the system. An anonymous studio technician told Deadline, "The files were wiped clean in a single night. No one knows who ordered it, but only top executives had that authority." At that exact time, Keaton began withdrawing from public life, canceling all schedules, and nearly vanishing from social media. After her death, no studio acknowledged the project's existence. When a Variety reporter contacted Keaton's former manager, they received only one response: everything was handled internally. This collective silence and curt reply fueled suspicions. Who benefited from Diane Keaton's death? Keaton had clashed with powerful figures, notably Woody Allen, her once closest collaborator. Though she publicly defended Allen amid his scandals, backstage documents revealed disputes over image rights and scripts. A former assistant producer for Allen disclosed there was a script Keaton refused to sign off on. The tipping point was that Keaton rejected 2 major film projects from top studios in her final 6 months. According to her assistant, Miss Keaton no longer felt safe continuing the projects. Some sources even suggested that the rushed sale of her dream home was closely tied to this project. Was Diane Keaton truly threatened? Was the canceled film deal linked to a larger secret? To this day, all project files, email exchanges, and original contracts have vanished without a trace. And the only person who could reveal the truth is no longer here. The detail that gripped public attention most was Diane Keaton's final phone call just hours before she was found unconscious at home. According to her son, the person she insisted on calling was Al Pacino. The 15-year relationship between Diane Keaton and Al Pacino, though long ended, never truly faded for her. To understand why she was haunted by this love until her final days, we must return to 1972 on the set of The Godfather. Amid cigarette smoke and camera lights, Keaton, a 26-year-old dreamer, was captivated by Pacino's cold eyes. He barely spoke in the early days of filming, but with one glance, she told a close friend, "There's something about him that feels dangerous, and I want to step into it." The 15-year relationship that followed wasn't a romantic fairy tale, but an obsessive bond. They loved and parted only to return like moths to a flame. Pacino was famously flirtatious, uncommitted, while Keaton longed for a family home. Close friends said that when Al Pacino vanished for weeks without a word, Keaton poured her heart into letters. After her death, police found over 40 unsent letters in her study. One written in trembling handwriting and kept in a locked drawer bore a single line: "I'm tired of waiting. By your side, I feel myself disappearing bit by bit." Investigators believe this letter was written just months before her death. Though the two reportedly hadn't spoken for 3 years, Pacino contacted Keaton multiple times in her final weeks. A 2 a.m. call from an unknown number was logged in her phone records. Family members said her voice was very soft when she answered, and they only heard her say, "You still keep that photo." Both fell silent. After the call, Diane Keaton locked herself in her room for 2 days. She didn't eat, didn't speak, leaving only her desk lamp burning through the night. Diane Keaton was completely broken. When asked about her condition, she only replied, choking, "Everything's finally come back, just as I feared." When Keaton's death was announced, Al Pacino refused all interviews, telling The Hollywood Reporter briefly, "I don't know what to say anymore. It's too painful." But that pain wasn't all he carried. An insider revealed that Pacino visited Keaton's home that night, demanding no photos be taken, and stayed alone in her private room for over an hour. According to the housekeeper, when Al Pacino emerged, he no longer had his usual calm demeanor. His hands trembled, his eyes red, and he held a small notebook filled with purple handwriting, Keaton's bedside journal. Pacino snapped angrily, "Don't bother me. Let me be." He was met with a furious shout from her son. "Get out of here. Don't disturb my mother." According to her son, his mother's pain had built up over decades. Though they had parted each time news broke of Al Pacino dating a new beauty, Keaton's depression flared intensely. Thus, Keaton tormented herself through diary entries. "Every time I see them, I wonder why I wasn't good enough, not beautiful enough to keep him." On page 19, she wrote, "He replaced me as easily as a supporting role in a movie." This pain not only drove Keaton to seek therapy, but also reactivated her eating disorder. Each time she looked in the mirror, she touched her wrinkled face, often muttering, "How do I become perfect?" Her son, witnessing his mother's cycle through torment over one man, harbored deep resentment toward Al Pacino. He always believed Pacino was the root of her tragedies. "My mother was a victim of toxic love," he told a trusted family member. "He didn't just take her time and youth, he slowly destroyed her belief in herself." A wretched man. In those blank pages, Diane Keaton wrote of her true pain, a love that made her lose herself, the final flame that burned out her remaining vitality. In her final days, Keaton barely ate, surviving on water and black coffee. Her body wasted away so gaunt, she was unrecognizable. According to her son, she looked like someone who'd gone through dozens of consecutive depressions, exhausted eyes, but still trying to act as if nothing was wrong. In truth, years earlier, Keaton had battled persistent illnesses, hereditary cancer and eating disorder and self-punishment, all stemming from years of longing to be more beautiful, more perfect, to be loved, as she was at the start. In a 2015 Los Angeles Times interview, she admitted, "It was a burden. My aunt had severe skin cancer, and so did I." Though she underwent surgery twice, the disease haunted her throughout her life. Yet her true pain came from the bulimia she developed in her 20s. After being told to lose 10 lb for a Broadway role, she began binge eating uncontrollably. "A normal dinner for me was a bucket of fried chicken, cheesy mashed potatoes, a liter of soda candy, banana cream pie. Then I'd throw it all up." She hid the illness for decades, only admitting it in her 60s. A nutritionist once noted that Keaton showed signs of chronic eating disorders, which often flare up under intense emotional stress. The midnight call with Al Pacino was the final shock, reopening every old wound at once. The media called it a domino effect of emotions when a traumatic memory is so overwhelming that the body reels past pain. Now piecing together the scattered fragments, the unsent letters piling up the recurring eating disorder, the abnormal weight loss in her final months, and the fateful 2 a.m. call. Everything points in one direction. Diane Keaton's death was not random. It was the result of decades of psychological trauma. In the end, it all has an answer. Diane Keaton didn't die from cancer or a mere physical illness. She passed because her heart was too weary to keep fighting, because of a love so deeply ingrained it consumed her, even though she tried to forget it her entire life. The media and public's reaction to her passing. The news of Diane Keaton's death exploded like a shockwave across Hollywood on the morning of October 11th. Within hours, every major U.S. outlet from People, the New York Times, CNN to ABC News reported the sudden passing of the ageless star. Yet a suspicious commonality emerged. No outlet disclosed the cause of death, the exact time, or the specific circumstances of her emergency transport. According to the Los Angeles Fire Department, medics arrived at her Brentwood home after a 6:47 a.m. emergency call about an unconscious, unresponsive woman. She was taken to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. Only that afternoon, nearly 10 hours later, did the New York Times confirm Oscar-winning actress Diane Keaton has died at 79 in California. Both People and the New York Times quoted her family spokesperson and former partners, but all used the same phrase: "We are deeply saddened, but ask for privacy during this time." No explanations, no medical details, just a chilling wall of silence. This silence quickly sparked a wave of speculation due to glaring inconsistencies. When TMZ requested the initial report, the Los Angeles Police Department LAPD refused, stating the case is under verification and involves personal elements requiring confidentiality. That phrase became the center of debates about the case's transparency. Colleagues and friends like Meryl Streep and Jack Nicholson posted condolences, but avoided mentioning the cause of death or any final life details. The prolonged silence ignited public outcry. The Los Angeles County Coroner's Office confirmed it was opening an official investigation to determine the cause and time of death. Keaton's home was sealed off for evidence collection. As the investigation unfolded, media outlets tried to reconstruct her final days, her withdrawal from public life, the $29 million home sale, her severed contacts, and crucially, the 2 a.m. call with Al Pacino. Everything began to form a chain of logic too perfect to be coincidence. Though fans mourned her radiant light, The Guardian called her Hollywood's last dazzling smile. One thing is certain: Diane Keaton died alone, and Hollywood either doesn't know or dares not say the real reason. Looking back at Diane Keaton's 50-plus-year career over half a century, the name Diane Keaton remains a symbol of intelligence, independence, and uniqueness in cinema. She wasn't just a star. She embodied an era when women in Hollywood began defining themselves not needing to be sexy to be loved, perfect to be respected, or submissive to be recognized. Born in 1946 in Los Angeles, Keaton began on Broadway before stepping into Hollywood in the late 1960s. At the time, American cinema was transforming, caught between old romanticism and the rise of realist counterculture. In that era, one role changed her life: Kay Adams in The Godfather, 1972. When director Francis Ford Coppola chose Diane Keaton for Kay, many were skeptical. She wasn't a Hollywood beauty, lacked a seductive figure, and didn't fit the studio's ideal woman. But that imperfection gave Kay depth, a normal woman lost in a world of power, crime, and tragedy. The film's massive success ushered in an era for mafia movies, and Diane Keaton, the woman always behind powerful men on screen, became an icon of endurance and hidden tragedy. The scene where she stares blankly as Michael Corleone closes the door between them remains one of the 20th century's most iconic cinematic moments. 3 years later, Keaton returned in The Godfather Part 2, 1974. And this time, Kay was different: strong, cold, and deeply wounded. Her performance made audiences both pity and fear her, portraying a woman daring to confront power, even knowing she'd lose. If The Godfather brought Keaton to Hollywood, Annie Hall, 1977, made her a legend. Directed by Woody Allen, the film painted a complex, profound, humorous, and heartbreaking love story. And Annie Hall, with Keaton's awkward, intelligent, romantic, and quirky charm, became a cultural icon. The role earned her the Best Actress Oscar in 1978, along with awards from BAFTA to the Golden Globes. But Annie Hall's success wasn't just in accolades. It lay in how Diane Keaton changed how Hollywood viewed women. She didn't wear ball gowns or tight dresses. She wore men's vests, oversized shirts, khakis, and ties. That style, proposed and brought to the film by Keaton herself, sparked a revolution. The Annie Hall look was born, inspiring millions of women worldwide to be different, to be quirky, to be themselves. The 1980s and 1990s proved Keaton was no fleeting phenomenon. She starred in classics like Manhattan, 1979, Reds, 1981, earning another Oscar nomination, Baby Boom, 1987, The First Wives Club, 1996, and Marvin's Room, 1996. In Reds, Keaton played journalist and activist Louise Bryant, delivering one of her most complex and emotional performances. The film not only won critical acclaim, but freed Keaton from the Woody Allen's Muse label. She proved she could stand alone as a true actress. In the 1990s, while many peers faded, Keaton retained her allure. The comedy The First Wives Club, 1996, alongside Goldie Hawn and Bette Midler as a revenge ex-wives alliance, was a box office hit and a bold statement on middle-aged women in film, a topic Hollywood rarely touched. In 2003, Diane Keaton made a stunning comeback with Something's Got to Give opposite Jack Nicholson. At 57, she wowed the world with her mature, witty, and effortlessly charming beauty. Playing an independent playwright broken by love, but still passionate, she earned her 4th Oscar nomination. The film not only restored her golden era, but affirmed that women are never past their prime, only waiting for directors brave enough to give them worthy roles. Beyond acting, Diane Keaton was a producer, director, photographer, and designer. She directed Heaven, 1987, a documentary on faith and death, and authored bestsellers like Then Again, 2011, a memoir about her bond with her mother, and Let's Just Say It Wasn't Pretty, 2014, where she spoke of aging love and the fear of being forgotten. Keaton was also known for her passion for architecture and interior design. She restored many historic Los Angeles homes and published The House That Pinterest Built, 2017, chronicling her journey to create her dream home where she lived until her death. Looking back on over half a century in the industry, Diane Keaton left a colossal legacy. Not just films, but a philosophy of living. She never let Hollywood define her. She avoided plastic surgery, didn't chase luxury fashion, didn't live for fame. She lived for art, authenticity, and the desire to do what she loved, even at the cost of loneliness. From Kay Adams in The Godfather to Annie Hall in Men's Vests, to the resilient middle-aged woman in Something's Got to Give, Diane Keaton proved women don't need to stay young, just true. And perhaps what haunts the public most about her passing isn't just the loss of a star, but the end of an era, one where Diane Keaton said with her smile, "Hollywood always wants you to be beautiful and obedient. But I chose another way. I chose to be myself, even if it scared them." Hollywood, where light doesn't illuminate but obscures. Everything here is staged so meticulously that even loneliness knows how to wear a costume. They call it the capital of dreams. But really, it's a giant stage where happiness is directed. Smiles are choreographed, and tears only fall when a camera is pointed at them. The glittering red carpets shimmer like bloodstains on velvet. Camera flashes ring out like commands for stars to keep playing their radiant roles. When the party ends, glasses shatter, music fades, and the room sinks into silence. You realize that light was never warm. It's cold as metal, reflecting faces that haven't slept due to sedatives that have smiled until they forgot how to breathe. In the mirror, they no longer recognize themselves, only a figure shaped by audiences, painted by the media, and sustained by the soul they sold to survive. Fame in Hollywood doesn't bloom from light, but from fear. Fear of being forgotten, of not being chosen, of a tomorrow when no one calls your name. Here, success isn't a reward, but a suspended sentence forcing people to play their perfect role until they unravel. And when the curtain falls, the audience sees a sparkling smile, but Hollywood sees a soul burned out, because here, dreams aren't truly lived. They're performed day after night until the actor has no strength left to bow to the audience.